First, we maintain the system which gives any opposition the opportunity to displace us peacefully. And we allow the system. We have not interfered with the civil service, we have not interfered with the judiciary, we have not interfered with the parliamentary procedures on the system, police and so on. And if you can win an election, so be it. And at some time, some place, we will not be able to find a team which can equal an opposition team. And that day we deserve to be out. If we become corrupt, if we become inefficient, we can't deliver, we're out. Now, what if we have a freak election? As we may well have, because many voters now tell you openly, you know, my family, 3 of us voted for you, but 2 of us voted against you, just to let you know that we want an opposition voice and we don't want you to be so overwhelming. So in that situation, you may have a freak result. And I say, all right, that worries me. So we have set in place a president with blocking powers. So any opposition that comes in will find, first, he cannot touch the reserves. Otherwise, you can promise the sky and spend the money. And all our hard-earned savings will go within 5 years. Second, you can change the top officials without the president's consent. The first 3 or 4 officials and commanders, police and so on, you cannot change them. And if they retire and you want to appoint a new one, the president must approve. And all the government funds, any raiding of the funds, even under our control now, PAP, must be approved by the government, by the president, who has a council of presidential advisors who are very well versed, experienced economists, businessmen, who will advise the president yes or no. Now, why should we do that if we expect to overturn an election? We expect, if we are voted out, to stay out and hope that within 1 term, that new government, incompetent, unable to deliver, will be out. And there's enough core competencies and the funds to enable a fresh PAP government to revive the system. Why do you think we put in all these safeguards? I spent 15 years thinking out these safeguards and finally persuaded my younger colleagues that we needed this, because they can't guarantee that they'll each time produce a better team than the opposition, just because you've done that in the past. I don't see any problem in the next election, probably the election after that, but if we don't find a good team in the election after that, and the opposition gets a good team together, we are at risk. That's the way it is. You know, one of the first lessons I learned when I went to LSE for 1 term, I attended Harold Lasky's lectures because he was a great preacher, you know, he was a great orator and a lecturer. And he spent 1 or 2 lectures in a crowded lecture room in Houghton Street in London, explaining why Britain is going through this Labour government revolution. He said, if you don't have a system where you allow change and fundamental change by consent, you will have a revolution by violence. And this is because the British have allowed and the middle class acquiesced in the change, and later on adopted the National Health Service and a whole host of other social security measures. There was no revolution in Britain as the middle class became less and less well off. He says, so I learned, the first lesson I learned in politics is, you either have a revolution by consent, constitutionally, or a revolution by violence. If we block all possibilities, we must expect violence. And in that violence, eventually the army won't shoot. because you are in the wrong. I mean, that's what happens in Africa. So the army goes in and holds up the president and often shoots him. If we had not these thoughts at the back of our minds, why do we do these things? Now, you're a novelist. I don't know what you dream of or what you imagine, but find a reason why we should do that just to bluff the people that in fact we're preparing a coup and all the army commanders are our children or relatives. Doesn't make sense. An army commander, Air Force or police has to be approved by a committee and the president must agree. Why? Because we will appoint that commanders? No. Because a stupid government may do the wrong things and when we return, we may find the whole machinery has collapsed, as often is the case. Simple.
We already past 10 o'clock. Would you